We're going to look at how to find the area of a circle given a radius or a diameter. So I've got on the right side here some extra practice from Fish Math. So it says here, find the area of a circle whose radius is 2 centimeters. So for area, we're going to use the formula that's A equals pi r squared. So the area of a circle is pi times the radius of that circle squared. So whenever you have a shape that we're talking about in math and we don't have a picture of it, it's good to draw that picture so you can visualize what we're talking about. So a circle here with a radius of 2. So a radius goes from the center of a circle to any point on the circle. So that would be a radius of 2. And we actually need the radius for this formula because our formula is pi times the radius squared. So the formula would then become pi times our radius 2 squared. To do this in terms of pi, what we would do is you would type in everything except for the pi into a calculator, which in this case typing in into a calculator really isn't necessary because we just need to do 2 squared. And 2 squared is just 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is just 4, so this would be pi times 4. But usually you write the number and then the pi after it. So that's just how we normally see it, like 4x. It's kind of like how you see it with a variable, except pi is not a variable, it is a number. So this would be our in terms of pi answer. And we'd like to have an answer in terms of pi because that's as precise as we can get it. 4 pi is the exact answer for this area problem. Once you round it, you lose a little bit of accuracy, so it's not as precise. To get a rounded answer, you just type into a calculator 4 times pi, and that would give us a decimal, and that'll be an approximate answer. So when I type that in, I get 12.56637, etc., etc. It'll keep going forever because pi is irrational, so the decimal we get here will be an irrational decimal that goes on forever without repeating. So if I want to round this, we could do to the nearest tenth, to the nearest hundredth. I'm going to actually show both. So nearest tenths place would be the first decimal, so that would be 12.5 or 12.6 depending on the next digit. So the one after the 5 is a 6. We don't need anything else when I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, just the one after the tenths place. So the 6 tells the 5 to bump up because it's 5 or above. So that would be 12.6 rounded to the nearest tenth. To the nearest hundredth, it'd be 12.56 or 57, all based on the next digit after the 6. So the 6, again, tells the other 6 to go up. So this is going to be 12.57 rounded to the nearest hundredth. And the units for all of these would be our unit squared. So centimeters for the area and then squared, because area is a 2-dimensional measurement. So either way we round it, it'd be the same unit there for centimeters squared. Okay, let's do one more here. We might get a problem that's not an area one, so I'm going to keep hitting generate until we do. So there's some circumference problems here. Let's see if we can find one with an area and a diameter. Those are good to mix up. There we go. So let's draw this one out too. An area of a circle whose diameter is 16. So if the diameter is given to you, we have to do a little bit of work before we plug into the formula, because the diameter is the whole way across a circle. So if that's 16 centimeters, the formula is pi r squared, not pi d squared. So we don't want to use 16 here. If this is our diameter, our radius is just half of it, because the radius is halfway. It's just from the center to one point, so it's just half of this 16, which of course would be 8. So the radius would be 8 for this example, and then we just plug that into our formula like before. So the area would be pi times 8 squared. You type in 8 squared into your calculator or do it in your head. 8 times 8 is 64. This would be 64 pi for in terms of pi. That again means that pi is in the answer. And then if you wanted to round this, or we were told to round this, we would just type into a calculator, get an approximate answer. It would be 201.0619298, and again that would keep going forever. So rounding to the nearest tenth would be this 0 here, either stays a 0 or goes up to a 1, all based on the number after it. So the 6 after it tells the 0 to go up to a 1. So that would be about 201.1 centimeters squared to the nearest tenth. Or we could do nearest hundredth. That would be 201.06 or 07. The 1 after the 6, though, tells the 6 to stay at a 6. So 0.06 centimeters squared. That would be rounded to the nearest hundredth. So again, that's how we find the area, how we do it in terms of pi, and round it appropriately based on whatever the question was asking. We could do it either way, tenths place or to the nearest hundredths.